Ooh, that was a tough one because I didn't retire on my terms, which is everyone can tell you that not retiring on your terms is it's never easy. So the first year I put out, well, first of all, I wanted to go to PT school, but all of my science classes were too old, and I was told I had to retake organic chem and physics and all that. And I said, no, not doing that again. So I applied to a lot of college jobs. And the first year I didn't get any. And so I spent the next year networking. And I also did a, what is it called? Women's Pioneers in Running series for RRCA. And that was back in like 2012, 2013, 2014. And then after networking for a year, the next year I got 0 offers until about 2 weeks before school started. And then I got like 5, which I had to make a decision in like 48 hours. So I ended up at UConn for a year and a half. And then I transitioned to Atlanta Track Club. So until I got settled into coaching, it was a bit what I want to do with my life. And, the networking part was interesting. It's definitely important, and, continuing to stay in the sport, and just continuing to learn as well. So. Yeah, so I mean, I was dismissed from the team well before I thought I was ready to be dismissed from my previous team. And then my body just, and without some of the resources, like medical resources and stuff to heal and alter G's and stuff like that, I just wasn't able to come back in 2012, and I wasn't able to do, the marathon that I wanted and stuff. So I guess for me, and I hope it's changing, but just with the contracts and the way they're written, um, reduction clauses really, hamper the athletes. I would rather see contracts written as a base salary for enough for people to live, and then bonus contracts for if you run really well. But if you don't run well, I really don't think you should be taken below this poverty level, right? Or you should be the coach and the athlete and the doctors should have some kind of say on, hey, this injury is going to take X, right? And they may not be able to race till X. For a lot of us, at the end of my career, there was women having kids, and there was, myself being injured, and you were put on this very strict timeline, and you always raced before you should have. You always had to go do things, before you or your doctors probably thought it was good to do. And it's kind of like the healthcare system, right? The insurance company says, you don't need that. We're not paying for it. Even though the doctor recommended you should get that, insurance company says no. Same thing on the pro running level, or the, throwing or fields or whatever. The doctor and PT says, you really ought to take a couple more weeks. The running company says, oh, if you don't compete by X, or if you don't do X, number of events, you're going to get reduced or cut. If you take that pressure off, and or at least give them enough money to live on, then I think the stress helps people recover better. The less stress helps people recover better. How about that? So that's, I guess, one of the things I'd like to see is just giving people a chance to recover, whether it's from pregnancy or from injury. We always tell the athletes when they come in, they kind of get 18 months to 2 years for us, because we say, it takes a little bit to transition one from college or from another team. We have to get to know you. You have to get to know us. And I always say your first 18 months or so are kind of 2 full track seasons. I call it the no pressure situation, because you know what, if you get injured and if you aren't running as well, that's all right. Maybe by the 3rd track season, all right, we got to show some progress. Or maybe this just isn't, what you need to be doing. So I like to give them that time to just adjust to post-collegiately, to adjust to us. And so that's what we do here. We give them an adjustment period. And then you sort of need to start, improving or showing progress at that point. So that's what we kind of do to make it a little bit less stressful. It was, I had kind of a mental switch about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days prior to the trials, where I went from saying, it would be nice to make this team, or I'd like to make this team. And I kind of had this mental switch to, I will make this team. And I was at Justin Whitaker. I was getting my my chiropractor appointment. He was, doing ART and stuff. And he was talking about the trials, and I said, oh, I'd like to make the team. he literally stopped working on me, sat me up on the thing, and looked at me and said, "No, you will make the team." And it was just the confidence that he said that to me and just like stared me in the face. It's like, "No, you will make this team." And it would, I don't know, it woke me up. And I just, okay. And I came home and I said, "Andrew, I will make the team." And he was like, "All right." Because I'd tried 3 times to get the time and I hadn't gotten it. And so I had to get it at the trials. And um, it was the calmest I have ever been going into a race, which is really weird because usually you're not that calm going into that race. And I did everything wrong in that warm up, getting ready for that race. So really, I didn't really do, I was just confident and that's all it was. So yeah, man, everyone gets a little crazy this year, especially this time of year, because a lot of people feel like they're running out of real estate, right? They're running out of races to get the time. They're running out of opportunities, or injury pops up, or, right now it's keeping people calm and getting them, just getting them healthy right now to the line is some of the hardest things to do. But once we get there, it's some of the athletes need to walk through every scenario, right? Especially with tactical races or all out races. So what we do is we walk through every scenario, like, okay, so that when they're in the race, they don't have to think as much. They know instinctively what they're going to do. So, okay, if you're running the 800 and it's all out, what are you going to do? Where are you going to put yourself? If you're running the 800 and it's tactical, what are you going to do? Where are you going to put yourself? How are you going to be ready? Where are you going to set up? The 1500, same thing, right? Like, if so and so makes a move at this, are you going to cover? And so we just walk through all the variations that could happen so that they don't go crazy, trying to think about it, or they don't hesitate in the race. And again, we're just going to tell them, just stay in it and give yourself every opportunity to make that team. And if you don't stay in the race, you've already lost the opportunity. So just stay in it and fight for it and see what we got. A lot of athletes can run really great time trials. They can get on the track and they can click off times, they can follow their teammates, they can be paced, and everything is easy, everything's set out for you. Then you toe the line in an actual race where there's tactics and there's jostling, there's the stare down from people on the line, right? And then there's people that you line up against that, for example, if you're a kid coming out of college, you're 22 and you're racing a 30-year-old, right? And you've been watching them your whole career, and you put them on this pedestal, right? And now you're standing on the same line as them. And a lot of athletes, it's hard for them to run against their, I guess their idols, right? Or the people that they've been watching for 8 years. And so it is a huge difference racing. One's great to get the time. It's great to be able to run fast. But if you can't race and be focused in the race, that's the difference of making the team or just running fast. There's a huge difference. Ooh, I do. I do believe in the word talent, but I think it's more about the desire. But talent does play a huge role. I mean, there's people that have natural speed, and that, I mean, they're quick off the line. They have quick acceleration. That's hard to teach and coach. You can't teach some of that. I mean, that's just efficiency and just what they're born with. I think people that can tolerate, more pain, I mean, that's definitely a talent. But you can have the most talented people in the world and they don't have the desire and they don't have the drive and they forget their why they're doing it. You can have all the talent in the world, but not having the desire to do what you're talented in. Yeah, that doesn't work. So yes, I do believe in talent, but I believe that desire and knowing your why is way more important than talent.